to The Blotcha Show. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and you are listening to this week's episode of Storytime Friday.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Storytime Friday. This is episode 98. This week's story is called Disappearance Investigation. Detective Jones had been on the force for 25 years. She had had quite a few different cases that she had worked, and none of them jumped out at her as much as the current case that she was working on. Her current case involved 3 missing girls. Their names were Sarah, Bethany, and Melinda. The 3 ladies had disappeared one night after leaving a club and heading to their car, and had never showed back up at home. Detective Jones, when she received the case, at first thought it looked like just any other case, but as she looked at the information file in front of her, something just didn't feel right. She called into her captain. Ring, 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 ring. This is Captain Smith. Hey, Captain, it's Detective Jones. Hey, Detective, what's up? What can I do for you? Yes, sir. I'm looking at this file about the new case that you just assigned me or whatever. Yeah, you mean the one with the three women that disappeared? Yes, sir. It says here that all 3 of their cars were still found at the club. That's correct, Detective. The camera shows them leaving the front entrance of the club, and it shows them walking to their cars, and then there's a little bit of a blank spot where the footage cuts out, and then when it cuts back in, it just shows the cars there, but there's no sign of the ladies. The detective side. Oh man. Well, everything okay, Detective? Captain Smith said. Yeah, everything's fine. The detective said. It's just really weird. It doesn't feel like a regular, when you're run-of-the-mill disappearances. Something seems off. The captain kind of laughed a minute. Well, what part of any kind of disappearance seems, when do those ever seem right, though, Detective? Yeah, you're right, Captain. You're right. All right. Well, thank you for your information. Thank you for your time, sir. I really appreciate it. No problem, Detective. Click. Detective Smith, Detective Jones, slumped back in her chair as she pondered and thought. She said, so Captain Smith, all right, so based on what Captain Smith told me and what the information I have here, I really need to, I gotta figure out, where do I want to go with this? Who should I talk to first? She glanced over at the file about the club. Okay, I think I'm gonna go talk to them. She grabbed her coat and left her office. The club doors opened. Hey, can I help you? Yes, sir. My name's Detective Jones. I'm a detective with the local homicide, mysterious missing persons division. I was looking into the disappearance of 3 young women that disappeared from your parking lot a couple days back. Oh yeah, I talked to a couple other officers about that. The nightclub owner said. I already answered a lot of questions for them. I mean, and I understand that, sir, Detective Jones said. I just need to ask you a few more questions. Oh, all right. Well, come on in, the nightclub owner said. As he pulled up a chair next to the bar, he said, "Can I get you anything?" Just a ginger ale, please, the Detective Jones said. Oh, okay, sounds good. All right. So he filled up a glass for himself and filled up a glass for her, and he sat down next to her. All right. So what do you need? What would you like to know? Well, sir, Detective Jones started. Like, do we know what happened at all on that part of the footage where it cut out? And you know, like 1 minute you see them, and the next minute they're just gone, and you see the cars. The owner had a like like rubbed the side of his face with his hand, thinking, "No, I honestly have no idea, detective. I don't know what could have caused that, because honestly, like, that's the only spot that when I've combed through a couple hours worth of footage, and that's the only place that you see a break in the recording. So I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure what happened, and I'm not sure how it happened. You know. Okay, I got you, sir. Detective Jones said as she took a couple notes. And do we know anything about the ladies that went missing? Because I think all we have is we have first name, but but I don't think we're still running the information on the cars now to determine, to find out more information about the actual uh, potential victims here. Victims, the nightclub owner said. You think something happened to them? Well, Detective Jones said they did disappear, so we can only assume that something happened to them. We just don't know exactly what happened to them. So, but thankfully, we've got all three vehicles back at our impound, and they're combing through them right now to try to see if they can find any information about those three ladies or whatever. Oh wow, that's I'm glad that you guys at least are actively working the case, the nightclub owner said. So there isn't anything else you can tell me about them? Detective Jones said. No, ma'am. That was the first time I'd seen them in the club. They were pretty nice though. I chatted with at least one of them for a few minutes, and they only left each other's side when one of them would go to the bathroom. But otherwise, they were just hanging out, and enjoying the drinks and the music. And aside from that, I couldn't tell you anything. Okay, I got you, sir. What Detective Jones said. So, and this is just me, I'm just kind of doing some preliminary questions, kind of, because I need to kind of get kind of an idea, maybe that maybe there might be people out to get them, or people that had had ill intent for them. Detective Jones, just go ahead and ask what you're trying to ask. Okay, Detective Jones said. Do you remember seeing anybody that might have been looking at them in a weird way? Weird how? The nightclub owner said. Well, weird, like maybe they were casting like glances at them, with certain looks on their faces that would kind of imply that they were either stalking them, or that they were, just didn't have the greatest intention for them. No, ma'am. I don't recall there being anybody like that, but I wasn't really paying attention. I got you, Detective Jones said. Do you know if any of your staff might have seen anything? Nightclub owner thought for a minute. I mean, you could talk to them if you want. I mean, and there are a couple, because we're getting ready for tonight, so we do have some staff that's actually working right now. They're getting things prepared and getting things cleaned up and ready to go. I could call a quick meeting if you want. Yeah, that'd be great, Detective Jones said. All right, I'll be right back. A couple minutes later, the nightclub owner with about 7 or 8 employees came back to the bar. Hey guys, the nightclub owner said. This this nice young lady here is Detective Jones. She has a couple questions for you guys. Yeah, what's up? They all said. Hey guys, Detective Jones said. So, you guys are aware of the disappearance that happened the other night, correct? They all nodded. All right, so I just need to know: do any of you remember seeing anybody that seemed out of place that night? Anybody that might have been paying a little closer attention to the three young ladies? No, I don't think so. One of the employees said. Yeah, I didn't see anything because I don't even recognize those girls. I don't think I saw them at all. Come to think of it, another guy said, I think I did see something. Really? Detective Jones said. What? Tell me, what'd you see? Well, the young man exclaimed. I remember, because I actually served them their drinks that night. Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. The detective said. So what did you said you saw something? Well, I mean, I didn't think anything of it at the time. It didn't really jump out at me too much, but until you just asked us about it, it kind of brought it back to the surface a little bit. All right, well, what'd you see? Detective Jones said. Well, there were like two guys that were kind of sitting off at the corner, but they were constantly staring over towards these young ladies' table. Really? Detective Jones said, writing down a couple notes. Could you, would you be able to describe them? Well, it was weird. Like, they had on weird outfits. Like one of them basically had a little bit more of a country wear going on, but the other one kind of had looked like he was wearing like a cloak, kind of. What do you mean a cloak? I mean literally kind of like a cape, like cloak. It was like a long not it didn't have armholes, but it was basically literally like just a long cloth, kind of like, that's why the best way I could describe it would be the cape, because it was just a long, piece of cloth, connected to their back or whatever, and they had on this weird like wide brim hat, like it was just very weird. I can't even really describe his outfit. It stuck out at me a little bit, but they were both staring very intently at the young ladies' tables. All right, well, like when the ladies went to get up, did you see anything as far as like the guys getting up to follow them? Well, no, because like when the ladies left, the guys had already actually left. They left just maybe about 10 minutes before that, and so I didn't think anything of it. But I mean, do you think that could be something, Detective? It's possible, Detective Jones said. Hey, let me I'll look at the camera footage, and I'll definitely I'll check it out, Detective Jones said. So what about you guys? Anybody else see anything weird? No, actually, I didn't see anything at all, one of the other employees said. Yeah, me either, another one said. All right, well, I thank you guys for your time. Thank you, sir, she said as she looked over at the owner. I appreciate you guys, and I'll check this information out. The owner looked over at her like, any chance you could let us know, give us any updates if you find anything? Yeah, I'll try to see what I can do, the detective said. All right, cool. I appreciate that, Detective Jones. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Said as she left the bar, or the nightclub. Detective Jones sat in her car for probably about 20 minutes, taking a couple more notes, and just sitting there staring off into space as she thought about the case. Okay, so I mean, that's a little bit of a development, I guess. There's two guys that were paying a little closer attention, and one of them had a very weird outfit on. I wonder, the employee said it looked like a cape? Okay, that's weird. And so Detective Jones put her notebook down, put the car in drive, and then left the nightclub. As she was going down the road, she hit dial on her phone. "Hey, detective, what's up?" Captain Smith said. Hey, Captain," Detective Jones said. I just checked out. I just stopped by the nightclub where they disappeared at. I actually got to talk to the owner and some of the staff. Oh, really? Captain Smith said. What? Any leads? Like, would they give you any information? Well, she said. They did. Like, some of the employees did actually end up seeing a couple of sounds like suspicious guys that were definitely paying a lot of quite a bit of attention to the three young ladies' table. Really? Were they able to describe them at all? Detective Jones said. Yeah, they kind of gave you a little bit of a description, but I don't think we'll be able to identify them. But I plan to check the footage to see if I can see them on the camera at any point, anywhere near the ladies' cars, because that might be most we've had as far as lead goes. Oh, I gotcha, Captain Smith said. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking at the file when I get back there, and aside from that, I have no other updates, but I'll keep you updated with any new updates I get, sir. Sounds great, detective. Because these three ladies, we're still trying to determine who all three of them are exactly, but we don't we definitely don't missing persons basically just never being found. We're gonna, whenever we figure out who these are, obviously the families are gonna want to know what we're doing to try to find them, and so we want them to know that we're doing everything we can to take care of the situation. I'm definitely doing everything I can, Captain. But so hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm gonna do whatever I can to bring these ladies home safe. I know you will, detective. I know you will. So anyway, I'll talk to you when you get back to the station, Captain Smith said. Yes, sir, she said, hanging up the call. So as Captain Smith pulled into the station, she checked the time. Oh wow, man, I'm starving, she thought to herself. I've literally been just staring very intently at this case and I haven't eaten anything. She went in and grabbed her lunch out of the fridge. As the microwave heated up, she stood there thinking, all right, so got 3 missing ladies, and then we have two suspicious persons that were paying very close attention to them before they disappeared. All right, okay, so next up on the list, definitely grabbing that footage and having to see what I can find out. So she got back in her office. She pulled up the footage on her laptop and hit play. On the screen, she could clearly see the 3 ladies walking out together. As they approached their vehicles, all of a sudden the footage cut out. The whole screen went to showing the white snow on the screen for a split second before the camera footage showed back up on the screen. Only on the screen, all you saw were the vehicles the young ladies were walking towards, but no sign of them. Oh, that's really weird, Detective Jones said. Scanned around and she paused it and looked around on the ground in the footage, trying to see if she could see anything on the ground that they might have missed. Well, they were carrying bags, they were carrying their purses with them, and those don't appear to be those. We didn't those were never recovered, so I have to assume they still have those with them. Man, I really wish we had their identities. We could try to track them via their cell phones or whatever. She rewinded the footage back. All right, now let's check in. She looked at the footage, starting a little further back this time, and then she saw when the two men left, and she very clearly saw the two of them get up and walk to the door. Only what she notices as they pass by the three young ladies' table, both of them glanced off to the side, looking directly at them as they passed him. Wow, okay, I wouldn't have even noticed that before if those employees hadn't said anything. Detective Jones said to herself. I think we definitely need to figure out who these two young men are. After the two young men glanced at the ladies' table, and then they walked out of the nightclub, and on the outside camera, it showed them actually walk in a different direction aside from the direction the ladies went. But before they disappeared off camera, Detective Jones noticed that they both looked over in the direction of where the three young ladies' car were parked. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. She said, fast forwarding the thing. After they looked at the car, it showed them go off and disappear off camera. Okay, that's definitely something to check out, Detective Jones said to herself. So as she was watching the camera, she was continually taking notes, writing down every little detail that she hadn't noticed before. She called down to she picked up her phone and called down to the impound area and wanted to ask them a couple questions. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Hey, it's impound. What can we do for you? Hey, this is Detective Jones. I'm working on that case with the three missing young women. Oh yeah, yes, Detective. What can I do for you? All right, so you guys have their cars, correct? Yes, ma'am, we do. The impound workers said. So have they finished processing them? Have they found out any information? Yeah, they've actually gotten their got each of the missing ladies' last names from their registration, and they've combed through and they have like hair and fiber samples from each of the cars, and they aside from that they haven't found anything as far as like blood or anything in the cars, but they did find, just like I said, hair and fibers, and then the information on the actual vehicle owners themselves. Okay, cool, Detective Jones said. So could you forward that information to me as far as like anything you have? I need the ladies' names, and I need the what, like, if they found hair and fiber, is there a way to are we able to trace it, see, like, get an identity of who all might have been in the car at one point? Yeah, we could do that, the impound worker said. I'll have him forwarded over to you right away. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Detective Jones said, hanging up the call. A couple minutes later, her email went off. Oh, that was fine. That was really quick, she said. So she brought it up. She was reading over what they had. And they had, thankfully for her, she was really happy to see that they actually had the identities of the three young ladies, as well as they had identified who some of the hairs that were actually in each of the cars that it belonged to, because they were able to pull DNA off them. So she wrote down all the information that was in the email, and then she brought up another database on her computer and input the name of the people that they were able to identify with the hairs in the system. She input the first one. It said as it popped up on the screen. This one showed a young man with short black hair, pretty long nose and narrow eyes, and she looked at him closer. She goes, "Why does that face look familiar?" And she said, "Huh? Oh wait." She said, bringing up the footage again. She looked at the footage from when the ladies were inside the nightclub. She looked over at the footage of the guys sitting at the table, and then she looked back at the image of one of the guys that was identified via a hair collected in one of the vehicles. That's him, she said, looking at him. Huh, all right. And then, another name had been included in the report from the email. All right, I wonder. So she brought up that information, and this man looked a little different than the other man. But again, she thought he looked familiar too, so she went back to the footage and looked, and sure enough, that photo matched the other gentleman in the footage. All right, so we have identities on those two. I just need to figure out. What's how they what they have to do with those three young ladies, and so she started coming through social media profiles and trying to dig into different systems online. And as she brought new information up and went to different pages, she saw other pictures with those three young ladies with these two young men in the photos. Huh, okay. It kind of looks like they were dating, she said to herself. Or they were at least friends with these two. But there's three of them and two of the guys, so that's kind of interesting. So I wonder. As she continued digging through all the photos and all the posts and whatever, she came across a post that talked about there being a huge fallout, a huge breakup between at least two of the young ladies and two of the young men, or the two young men that were in. All right, I think I might have a motive here, she said, looking at the information. I might need to go ahead and check this out, she said. Ring, ring. Hey, detective, what'd you find out? Hey, captain. So I happened to find the identities of the two young men that were in the photo, or in the footage. Really? The Captain Smith said. How'd you do that? Well, they processed their vehicles. They didn't find any blood or anything, but they found other hairs, and any hairs that they pulled in there. There was the hairs belonging to the victim, or the supposed victim that we don't know what happened yet. But there are also hairs that they found that they ran DNA on them, and it came back. And I got a photo of two young men, and actually it's the two young men in the footage that we saw in the restaurant, or the nightclub. Oh wow, that was, you're making quick work of this, detective. Well, sir, I'm just trying to do my job, she said. But yeah, that's all I have for now. I'll let you know when I come up with anything. I'm gonna try to track these guys down, because I've been looking online, and it looks like at least two of them were dating these guys. I don't know, maybe all three of them, but I did find some information on social media and stuff that actually talked about there being like a big falling out or a breakup or something. Oh, okay, I'm sensing a motive here, the captain said. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Detective Jones said. But obviously, I can't make any assumptions, can't rule anything out yet, but I will keep you updated. Sounds great. Thank you, sir. Detective Jones said as she hung up the call. She brought up her system again and brought up these two young men, brought up their names to figure out where they were exactly. One of their names was Seth, and the other was Jonathan. Seth and Jonathan, as far as Detective Jones could tell, there were no information online that tied them together in any way. So she didn't know how they were, like, what their ties were to each other. If they were just friends, if they're, if maybe they just met each other that day, or But being that it looked like there was evidence of them having dated at least two of the women, Detective Jones knew she had to actually pursue this a little further. So she wrote down their addresses and then left her office. She knocked on the door. The door opened. Hey, can I help you? Seth said. Hey, are you Seth? Showed a picture. This is you, right? Yeah, that's me. Why? What's up? Detective Smith looked back at the photo. Well, do you know these three young women? She showed the picture to Seth. No, I've never seen them before. Really? Detective Smith said, or Detective Jones said. Because I've had footage of you and another young man actually in the nightclub at the same time that these three young women were there before they disappeared, and you guys very clearly look at her or look at them as you're passing by their table. And then you guys glance at their cars when you're leaving. What? You gotta be mistaken, Detective Seth said. No, I'm not mistaken. I could literally, if you want to, I could bring you down to the station. I could show you the footage so you can see it for yourself. I mean, I'm actually quite busy. Seth said, I really like. Do you have a warrant? Because or do you have like? So technically I don't really need to be talking to you, like, because I didn't do anything wrong. Seth said. Well, yeah, right now you haven't been found of doing. I haven't found anything that you've done wrong, but your cooperation would definitely go a long way, and it'd be much appreciated. She said. And I understand that, Detective Seth said. But again, I haven't done anything, so I don't see a reason for me to cooperate with you at all. Because you have nothing on me. So, Detective, okay, so if that's how you want to play it, then I will be back with the warrant. All right, Detective, Seth said, closing the door in her face. Huh, okay, well, that was interesting, she said to herself. Clearly got something to hide. So she got back in her car and she went to the next address on the list. She knocked on the door again. Door opened. Hey, can I help you, ma'am? Yeah, are you Jonathan? Yes, ma'am, who are you? She showed her badge. My name is Detective Jones. I'm looking into a missing persons case. There's three young women, and she showed the picture of the three young women. They disappeared from a nightclub a couple days back, and I've found connections with you and another man, Seth, that have some kind of ties to them. What? Jonathan said, looking at the photo. I've never seen them before. Really? All right, well, because I've seen footage literally showing you guys look directly at them as you were leaving, and then you guys look at their car when you leave, actually exit out of the building. Well, I don't know what footage you're talking about, Detective, but I don't know those ladies, and and if you'll excuse me, I really don't have time for this. Jonathan said, starting to close the door. Detective put her foot in the door, blocking it from closing it. Sir, I would very much. I'm respectfully asking if you will cooperate with me. Otherwise, I will come back with a warrant. Well, ma'am, do what you gotta do, he said, forcing her foot out from the door and closing it. Huh. Okay, so both of them clearly do not want to talk. I guess I'm gonna need to see what information I can find. So, Detective Smith, on our way back to the station, gives the captain a call again. Ring, 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 ring. Hey, detective, what's up? Hey, captain. So I actually went and spoke to those two young men, and neither of them wanted to talk. Really, Captain Smith said. That's interesting. What do you want to do? Well, sir, honestly, like when I brought up the women, they both basically claimed that they had no idea who they were. They'd never seen them before. And then, when I asked if they would cooperate with me and come back to the station, just to answer some questions, they both basically said that they haven't done anything wrong, and they refuse to. They don't want to answer any questions. So, all right, well, I could request that we get we could bring them in, bring them into custody, and we could hold them for 48 hours so that we could ask questions or whatever. But that's the best I'll be able to do unless you can find evidence that, any evidence that they're involved. Otherwise, we'll have to let them go, Captain Smith said. I understand, sir. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, because I think the only way we're going to be able to hopefully get this case figured out is by talking to those two young men. I'm pretty sure they've done something. I don't know what they've done. I hope they haven't done anything too bad. I'm hoping they just have the girls, the ladies somewhere. But obviously, it's been a couple days. You know what they say when it's like, after a couple days, the odds of finding them alive are pretty slim. Oh yeah, detective, I'm well aware. But I will get that warrant. I'll get the judge to issue a warrant, and I'll send it over to your thing right away. And then just go pick them up. That sounds great, sir. I'm actually, I just left one of their houses right now. As soon as I get the warrant sent over, I'll go ahead and swing by the first one and pick him up, and I'll bring him in first. And then I'll go and, I'll pick up the other one and I'll bring him in. All right, sounds good. A couple minutes later, she heard her computer in her car chime. She leaned over, she reached over and opened up the message. Arrest warrant for, and it showed the name of the person. Okay, cool. And then went off again. Another warrant popped up. All right, cool. Got him. So she went back. She pulled back into Seth's driveway, knocked on the door again. The door opened. Detective, I told you I'm not interested. I haven't done anything, so I'm just Detective Jones. Cut him off. Sir, I need you to put your hands behind your back. You're placing you under arrest for the disappearance. For the disappearance of these three young ladies, for Sarah, Beth, and Melinda. But what are you talking about, ma'am? I didn't do anything, she said, as she grabbed him and turned him around and pressed him against the wall, grabbing his hands and cuffing him behind his back. You're right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to attorney. As she started walking him into the car. Do you understand these rights as I've read them to you, said? Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'm telling you, I didn't do anything. I'm gonna have your badge for this. Well, man. Well, sir, that is your right if you want to pursue legal matters after this. But please get in the car. She opened the door and maneuvered him to get him in the back seat, and then closed the door. Then she got in the car. She drove back to the station with him. She walks in with him and hands him off to another officer. Can you process this young man really quick? Get him into get him into interrogation. I'll be back in another probably 20, 30 minutes. Yes, ma'am, the officer said. I'm telling you, I didn't do anything, the Seth yelled as she walked away. She didn't even turn and acknowledge. She got back in her car and took off again. This time pulling into Jonathan's parking lot. Open up, it's the police, she yelled. Door opened. Detective, what the hell? She grabs him and pushes him against the wall. Jonathan, you're under arrest for the disappearance of Sarah, Bethany, and Melinda. What? He said as he was trying to resist being handcuffed. He turned around and tried to push her away, and she grabbed him and pulled him down to the ground, face first on the floor. Oh, he said. She had a knee on his back and had pulled his hands behind him and was cuffing him. Oh, it fucking hurts. What are you doing? I didn't do anything, Jonathan said. As she pulled him back up to his feet. Jonathan, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You also have the right to an attorney. Do you understand these rights as I have read them to you? Oh, you fucking bitch! I can't believe this. I'm gonna have I'm gonna file a complaint with your boss. Well, sir, that is your right. Please get in the car, she said as she maneuvered him into the backseat. Drove him back to the station and then walked him in and again handed him off to the same officer. Hey, can you process this young man? Put him in the other interrogation room for me, please. Yes, ma'am, she said, grabbing Jonathan and processing him in. She went into the captain's office. Hey, captain. Hey, detective. So let me get. So was that you just brought in both those two young men? Yes, sir. And of course, as always, they acknowledge that they would like they're gonna file a complaint. They're gonna have my badge, all that fun stuff, all the usual complaints, sir. Oh yeah, of course, but hey, we do have, like, at least, like I said, as long as we only hold them for 48 hours. If we don't have any other evidence actually tying them to the disappearance, then we should be okay. Like they won't have any legal grounds for you. But yep, that's what I figured, Captain. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start the interrogations. Neither of them know that the other one got arrested. So I have them in separate rooms. I'm gonna be going back and forth. So hopefully we can get something out of him, she said. Yeah, that'll be great, Captain Smith said. So as she entered one of the rooms, she sat down before Jonathan. All right, so just hit a tape recorder. Press record. All right, so state your name, please. Jonathan. All right, Jonathan, do you live at such address, correct? Yes. He said. All right, and you claim that you do not know Sarah, Bethany, and Melinda, correct? That's correct. I don't know them, ma'am. Like I told you before. All right. And so why did but you do know Seth, correct? What? Oh, Seth. Yeah, it's like a friend of mine, Jonathan said. Okay, and so if you guys don't know the three young ladies, why were you staring at them the whole time you guys were sitting over there in that corner table? Well, because they're hot, Jonathan said. Like we're just like, we were staring over them, thinking about whether we could try to get their number or whatever. Really, Detective Jones said. So, but then why didn't you guys try to get their number? Like, I don't know, because we didn't think we had a chance. Okay, so, but you guys clearly looked at them when you guys left, and but you don't know necessarily who the three young ladies were, correct? That's correct, ma'am. All right, so do you know what they drove? What? Jonathan said. Do you know what they drove? Detective Jones said. No, of course not. How the hell do we know what they drove? Okay. So then she hit play on the little TV that was in there, showing the camera footage, which showed them as they walked out, stop and stare over at where the three vehicles are parked for a minute or two. So if you don't know what they drove, how do you explain this? Jonathan said. I don't know. Maybe just, it's like timing, like, are those their cars? Jonathan, I'd really like it if we wouldn't play games, because, like, I'm hoping for yours and for Seth's sake that that nothing really bad has happened to these three young ladies, because, we've already got got you and Seth tied, have a connection to them. For the disappearance, I really hope that we're not going to tie it to them for any kind of like murder or anything else. What? Like, that's crazy. Why would we wouldn't do anything like that, Jonathan said. Okay. Then where are they? I don't know. How the hell would I know, Jonathan said. Well, because you clearly knew what cars they were driving. No, we didn't, Jonathan said. Yeah, Jonathan, we just showed you the footage showing that you guys looking at their vehicles, and so you knew what they drove, and somehow you managed to we don't know how you weren't caught on camera when when they disappeared. So I really like for you to be honest with me right now. It's gonna be in your best interest, Detective Jones said. Ma'am, I don't know anything. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Well, I'll give you a few minutes. Can I get you anything to drink? No, I'm fine, Jonathan said, looking away from Detective Jones' gaze. She came into the other interrogation room and sat down. So, Seth, so again, I think you and I have met before. You don't already know who I am, but for the record here, she hit record on the tape recorder. Your name is Seth. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am, he said. Okay, and you do not know these ladies, correct? No, ma'am. Okay. So you don't know? You wouldn't happen to know what they drove, correct? How the hell would I know what they drove, Jonathan? Seth said. Okay, so she hit play on the TV in there and played the footage. And she stopped the footage, showing them both looking at the ladies' vehicles. So how would you explain this, Seth? I don't know. Seth said, like, what, whose cars are those? Seth, don't play games with me, Detective Jones said. Like, I believe that you guys do know these young ladies, and I believe that you knew that those are their cars. What I don't know is how, what happened to the footage, because the footage cuts out, so it goes from the ladies walking to the car to all of a sudden the cars are sitting there and there's no sign of the ladies. Well, I don't know, Seth said. I don't know, maybe they just ran away or something. All right, so Seth, if they had vehicles there, why would they just run away? I don't know. Like I told you before, I don't have any idea who the hell they are. Like I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like this is harassment. I'm gonna file charges and take your badge away from you. Well, Seth, you could certainly try, but I already have enough evidence that ties you to them. I just don't know what the overall picture is. And I pray for your sake that nothing has happened to these three young ladies, and that we can bring them back home safely. Well, I told you I don't know them, Seth said. Well, and I don't think you're telling me the truth. So I'm gonna go back. Like I'm gonna give you a few minutes, give you a little bit of a break. Is there anything I can get you? No, ma'am, I'm fine, he said, looking away. Okay. She came out of the room and went into the observation room where the captain was standing. So what do you think, sir? She said, looking at the captain. I think they're full of shit, he said. Yeah, me too, Detective Jones said. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to approach it, to get them to actually, like, spill, spill the beans, so to speak. Because I believe they do know them. I have the. Well, why don't you show them the online stuff you found that ties them to them, like the evidence showing that they were dating or that they had at least knew them personally, and at least two of the ladies were dating. And yeah, I was thinking that, Detective Jones said. So she goes back in the room with Seth again. So Seth again, for the record, you say you don't know them, correct? Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Okay, so I have a printout here of some information I found online. I was scrolling through some social media accounts, and she laid a paper in front of him, and it had a printout of some of the conversations that were going on, and it showed a picture of Seth holding, like, standing very close to one of the three young ladies. So if you don't know them, then that right there is Bethany, correct? I don't know. I told you I don't know them. All right, but that's you in that picture, right? No. And so the detective took out a camera, or took out her phone, and all of a sudden, boom, flashed a picture. What the hell are you doing, detective? Seth said. I didn't give you any permission to take my picture. Well, Seth, I don't need your, like, while you're in custody for, so we could hold you for 48 hours. We don't need your permission to take a photo of you. And she ran out of the room for a second and came back with a printout with the picture that she took of him, and she held it up next to the photo of the young man standing next to Bethany. So you would say that that's not you, she said, looking at the photo next to the photo of him. No, that's not me, he said. Seth, that photo is identical to the guy standing next to Bethany. I don't know what you're talking about, detective. You got us all wrong. Okay, explain to me how I got it all wrong, Detective Johnson. Well, we didn't do anything, detective. We didn't do anything. See, I don't believe you, Detective Johnson. I am showing you a picture right now of you standing next to Bethany, and I'm showing your picture I just took of you right next to that picture, and you literally are that guy. So I don't understand how you can sit there and tell me that's not you, you didn't do it. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't cooperate with me, I'm going to pursue this to the ends of the earth, and I'm going to make sure that I find any and all evidence, especially if I don't find them, I'm going to try to find anything and everything I can to put you away for life, to make sure you never see the light of day. Or you can work with me right now. If you cooperate right now and you tell me where they are, and we could bring them back to their families, maybe, just maybe, I could put in a good word for you with the judge, and maybe you'll get a lot lighter sentence. Well, what are you talking about? Seth said. Well, how much lighter? I don't know. That depends on how cooperative you are. Well, again, I think I might need an attorney. He said. Okay, that's your right. She said. But just please know, once you get an attorney, then I can't help you. She got up and left the room. She came back in the room with Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. So there's something I want you to check out. She laid a printout of another image. This time it was Jonathan standing next to Sarah. Okay, so that is you, correct? What? Of course not, Jonathan said. Alright, so we're going to do this here too, apparently. What do you mean here too? Never mind, Detective Jones said. So that's not you. Okay, hold on. Pulls out her phone. Boom! Takes photo. What? The hell did you just take my photo for? I'll show you in a second. I'll be right back, she said. left the room. She came back with a printout, laid both the photo of Jonathan next to Sarah, and then right next to the photo she just took of Jonathan. So this is not you then? Yeah, it's not me, Jonathan. I need you to know, like, that picture of you is identical to the one of the guy standing next to Sarah. And so it's like, I don't understand why you're you're denying it. Like, what did you got? Like, what did you and your friend do? Like, what happened to these three young ladies? Like, what'd you do to them? We didn't do anything to them, Jonathan said. Okay, then tell me where they are. I can't tell you what I don't know, detective, Jonathan said. All right, well, then I gotta tell you, like, if you do not cooperate with me, I will pursue this case to the ends of the earth, and I'm gonna track down any and all evidence I can, and I'll put you away for life. For what? Jonathan said. I don't know yet. Kidnapping, maybe you murdered them, maybe you murdered the ladies or whatever. I have no idea until I actually, get more information. But that's why I'm hoping that you will cooperate with me. Like, all right, so let's take a different approach, Jonathan. Like, how do you know Seth? Who? Jonathan said. Seth, the guy that I saw you with at the club. I told you we just hang out every so often. Like, we, like, kind of friends, but not really. Just kind of hang out. Okay. And how are you? Like, how do you guys know the? Like, you guys don't know the three young ladies? No, we don't. I told you that, Jonathan said. Okay. So, I'm all right. So I'm gonna. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go. Can I get you some water? Yes, please. That'd be great. Thank you, Jonathan said. Came back with some water. Here you go. Thank you. All right. So are we ready to try to, like, cooperate here? Like, I've been cooperating with you, Jonathan said. No, you haven't, Detective Jones said. You've literally been denying that this picture is you, and at this point, I'm kind of thinking that I will be filing kidnapping and murder charges. What? Jonathan said. No, you can't do that. I didn't do anything. Well, that'll be up for a jury to decide, Detective Jones said. Well, Detective Jones went to stand up and walk out of the room. She stopped at the door. So, anything else you want to tell me? Detective Jones said. No, not. I told you everything I know, John said. Okay. Detective Jones said as she left the room. Came back in the room with Seth. So, I have your buddy Seth in one of the other rooms. What? For what? Seth said. Or have your buddy Jonathan over there. And basically, it sounds like he's kind of warming up. It sounds like he's, getting very close to actually end up flipping on you. He's kind of hinted at that you were the one that it was your idea, that you did it, that he had nothing to do with it. Seth was like, what? No, I didn't. Like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. It was his idea to follow them and then kidnap. And he stopped speaking, and all of a sudden he looks away. Detective Jones looks at him. No, don't stop now. Keep going. Nope. Again, I think I need an attorney. Okay, but as I will have an attorney called for you, and then once they get here, then I can't offer you any more deals. So is that the route you want to go? Yes, ma'am. I think so. He said. Okay. She stood. Then I wish you the best. She stood up, started walking out the door. Wait, Seth said. She stopped and looked back at him. Fine, I'll tell you everything. Just please don't. It was an accident. We didn't, but they should be. They should still be okay. It was all Jonathan's idea. Like, I didn't want to go along with it. Detective Jones sat down at the table again. All right, didn't mean to like. What was his idea? What'd you guys do? Well, he said that like because we dated them, and we both like I dated Bethany and he dated Sarah. You know, we dated them for quite a while, and then we dated them for quite a while, and then they actually broke it off with us. You know, like we thought things were going really well, and so we don't know exactly why they broke up with us. But you know, I was cool, but but Jonathan was pretty pissed off. So he was telling like he was saying that we should like like basically abduct them, you know, and keep them captive somewhere until they agree to date us again. Wow, that's pretty freaky. Yeah, like pretty messed up. Detective Jones said. Yeah, like I said, Detective, it wasn't my idea. I just, okay. So tell me more, Detective Jones said. Like, why, like, are they alive? Did you guys kill them? No, of course not. We didn't kill them. We just, like, I'll tell you where they're at, but I want a deal. You know, like I don't want to go to prison. You know, like, please, is there anything that? Okay, well, that depends on how cooperative you are. So I appreciate you coming forward with this information. Like, what do you want? Like, here's what I could offer you. If you will agree to testify against Jonathan, and you will give us the information on where to track them down, we'll drop your charge to a misdemeanor, and so you won't do any jail time. It's 6 months of community service and a $600 fine. And okay, well, what'll happen to Jonathan? Well, he'll probably go to prison for at least 5 to 10 for kidnapping, and he'll have a felony on his record, whatever. Oh man, that sucks because I like Jonathan. He's my friend. I hear that, but it's either you work with me now, or you both get charged with kidnapping, and you end up, it's 3 counts of kidnapping, so that's basically at least 5 to 10. But the judge could make that for each count, so you guys could each be in prison for 15 to 20. What? I mean, we didn't think. Oh man, I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. I understand that, said Detective Jones said, but this is a big deal, and so this is my offer, and I'm giving you 60 seconds to decide. Okay, fine, I'll take the deal. I said. So, all right, so I'm gonna give you here's a pad and paper. I need you to write down their location. I need you to write down their location, where they're at, on the first page, and then hand it to me. And then the second page, I need you to write your confession. Basically stating what you and Jonathan did, and stating that it was Jonathan's idea, and whatever else he just told me. And then sign that. And then we'll I'll go once we find the ladies and get them safely home, or get them back safely. Then we'll proceed with the next steps. All right, fine. Seth said, "Damn it, really don't want to do this. I understand, but would you rather just take a shot at go to court and seeing if you both end up 15 to 20 years?" No, not really, Seth said. I'll do it, he said, taking the pen and starting to write. Wrote down the first page, and then handed it to Detective Jones. And then wrote out his confession on the second page. Okay, Detective Jones said, "Now just I need you to date it and sign it at the bottom, please." Then he did, and then handed it back to her. All right, thank you very much. Just hang tight here. Probably, I'm gonna have them bring you. I'll have them bring you in there, bring something to eat, something to drink in here for you, and I'll be back. Thank you, ma'am, Seth said as he looked away. So Detective Jones went into the observation room where the captain was. Excellent work, Detective, Captain Smith said. Thank you, sir. Like, how did you think to try to track him down on social media? Captain Smith said. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people are on social media, and I know people tend to give way too much they spill way too much of their lives on social media. So I thought maybe there's a chance, since we already saw them on video, maybe there was pictures of them with the ladies or whatever on there. So, but we have his we have his confession, and we have him acknowledging the other suspect in the other room that it was his idea and stuff. So will that be an issue getting this deal worked through with the prosecutor so that we can honor what we offered? Yeah, there shouldn't be problems. We'll have one of them will be going away, and we'll honor the deal with Seth in here. So that's fine. Okay. So I'm gonna go to this address. I'm gonna grab a couple of uniform cops and go check out this address that he gave me, and hopefully we'll have these ladies in custody, in safe hands here shortly, and we could actually then take care of these two. Sounds great, Detective. Here, yeah, go ahead and grab whoever you need and keep me updated. Yes, sir, she said that she left the room. Detective and a couple of other cop cars showed up at the address. They didn't even knock on the door. They had a warrant, and so they bust the door down, got into the basement. After searching the whole house, which looked pretty abandoned, looked like nobody'd been there for a while. Police! Is anybody in here? Detective Jones yelled. Police! Hello! One of the other officers yelled. They could hear it from one of the other rooms. We hear you. Hold on, we're coming. One of the officers yelled. Ma'am, I found him. One of the officers yelled from downstairs in the basement. Detective Jones came running downstairs. Oh, thank God. I actually came in the room and saw the three young ladies were sitting with their backs in a little triangle with their backs all facing each other, tied to chairs and their mouths taped. They looked like they hadn't eaten in days, and looked like they were pretty malnourished. I just took the tape off each of their mouths and started to untie them. You guys are safe. Just we got you. Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh man, what? I'm so glad you found us. We thought we were gonna die in here. Jessica said, or Sarah said. Oh, thank you so much, Bethany said. They looked over at Melinda, and she was unconscious. Ma'am, are you okay? She didn't move. Hey, officer! Detective Jones yelled. Yes, ma'am. We need an ambulance right away. Tell them we have three kidnapping victims that have been located. One of them is unconscious but breathing. Yes, ma'am. I'll let them know. You hear the radio go off. Yeah, this is Unit 135. We have three victims. Kidnapping victims have been located. Two of them are in rough shape but are conscious and breathing. One of them is unconscious and breathing but not responsive. 10-4. We have an ambulance on the way. They heard reply back on the radio. So they waited there with the three young ladies until the paramedics came in there, and they escorted the two that were conscious out, and they carried Melinda off on a stretcher. Detective Jones accompanied the ambulance to the hospital, and then was talking to the doctor outside. Melinda's room. Doctor, do you think everything's gonna be okay, or like, do you think she's gonna be okay? No. Well, I can't tell. Like, she's in really bad shape. And like, how long do you say they're missing for? Um, Detective Jones said at least 4 days, 5 days they were gone, and they were tied up down there the whole time. You think? The doctor said, "Yeah, it appears that way, doctor." Ah, okay, yeah, 'cause she's in really rough shape. So it's gonna we're trying to get some fluids into her, and we might know by tomorrow, But I'm honestly I'm really fearful of losing her. Well, doctor, I really hope she comes through because I know I've already got the two suspects in custody, and one of them has made a deal, but that's only on the kidnapping charges. But if she dies, I'm gonna have to charge them both. I'm gonna have to charge them both with murder, unfortunately. And, oh man, why did they say why they did it? The doctor said, "Well, I had one that actually agreed to a deal. All he said was it was the other one's idea. So, all right, well, yeah, check back with me in the morning. We should, once we get some fluids in her, we'll see how she's looking, and hopefully she'll be looking better." The doctor said, "That sounds good, doctor. Thank you." Detective Jones called the captain. "Hey, what's up? What's up, detective?" "Hey, captain. So, as you're aware, we found him." "Yep, I heard the report come over the radio." The captain said. "Like, what happened with that other one?" Well, she's currently in intensive care right now. They're trying to hydrate her, trying to get her fluids. She's kind of unconscious right now. They're not getting any response from her. Well, crap, man. Do they think she's gonna make it?" Captain Smith said. "It's hard to say, sir. They said that they can't really tell, but that they'll probably know a little more definitely, or a little more definitively tomorrow morning. Because once they get some fluids in her, get her hydrated, they'll be able to say one way or another if they think it looks like she's turning around." All right, well, here's hoping for the sake of the suspects we have in custody. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully she turns around, because I don't think we can make a deal if one of them dies. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, sir. Like, we could probably still give them a little bit of a deal, but if she dies, then they're both guilty of murder technically. So, yep, that's right, detective. So we'll cross your fingers and hope for the best. But yeah, have a good rest of your night. So I know it's at the end of your day, and just when you go out there to check in tomorrow, just let me know what you find out. Yes, sir, I will do that. As he hung up the call. The next morning, Detective Jones entered the hospital and found the doctor. "Hey, doc. So what's the verdict?" "Well, actually, I think you might be happy to know. She's actually looking better." He said, "Follow me." He said, bringing it. Detective Jones down to Melinda's hospital room. She stepped in the room and took one look at Melinda. She was in the hospital bed, hooked up to all the wires. I mean, yeah, she does actually. I'm seeing some color. It looks like she's had some color returning back to her face and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Doctor said. Like, she looks like maybe now it's just a matter of just getting her hydrated and getting her, just like recovering, and she'll probably wake up on her own. I'm thinking, within the next couple days, I hope. So I'm glad you brought her over to me when you did, because another day or two, like, tied up like that and being, dehydrated and stuff, I don't think we'd really be having this conversation right now. Well, I'm glad I found her when I did too, and I wouldn't have done it or wouldn't have been able to pull it off if one of the suspects hadn't flipped on the other one and given me a confession and told me where they were. But yeah, so you think she's gonna be okay then, right, Doc? Yes, ma'am. But let me know if you have any other questions. But I have other patients I gotta see. Yes, sir. That's fine. Thank you for everything. Oh, doctor, she said as he was walking away. He turned back. Yes, ma'am. How are the other two? Oh, they're looking good. They were just dehydrated a little bit, but otherwise they were in a lot better shape than Melinda here. But yeah, they should make a quick recovery. They'll be out by tomorrow. All right, cool. Thank you, doctor. Yep, you're welcome. He said as he walked away. So, Detective Jones made her way back to the precinct. She went into Seth's room. All right, Seth. So I just want to have a couple more questions for you. Man, Detective, I already told you I don't know anything. Like, we didn't have anything to do with it. All right. Well, you should know. Actually, you should know that we know that's not the case. And actually, you know what? I don't even need, like, this is me talking to you right now is really just a formality. What do you mean a formality? Seth said. It means exactly that. Hey, officers! She hollered back to the door. Two uniform officers came to the door. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and book Seth here. What? Book me? The officers are walking around the table and bringing Seth up to his feet, pulling his hands behind his back to cuff him. Seth, you are being charged with 3 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of attempted murder. And you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used. But this is bullshit! Seth said. Again, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. Do you understand these rights as I've explained them to you? This is fucking bullshit, Seth said. Do you understand these rights as I've read them to you, sir? Yes, I do. This is bullshit. Take him away, officers, she said as they pulled him out of as they escorted him out of the room. She went back into the room with Jonathan. So went back in the room with Jonathan, and Jonathan, Seth had actually, like, she laid the confession down that Seth had given him. Like, your friend Seth actually had given us a confession, and she laid it in front of him. What? What the hell? I didn't do anything, Jonathan said. All right, well, like, unfortunately, we got it on paper here that that you guys did do something, and he said it was your idea. So you're actually being, like, I just realized when I formally placed your friend Seth under arrest, I actually listed one too many charges. Since he's taken the deal, to actually give you up. He's only being charged with technically with kidnapping, but it's going to be probably dropped down, and he's actually not going to do any jail time. But unfortunately, we have his testimony against you. So, Jonathan, officers, come here, please. Officers came around and started cuffing him. What the hell is going on? Jonathan said. Well, Jonathan, I'm officially placing you under arrest for the kidnapping of Sarah, Bethany, and Melinda, and 3 counts of attempted murder. This is fucking bullshit. I'm gonna have your fucking badge, Jonathan said. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. This is fucking bullshit, Jonathan said. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Fuck you, Jonathan said. You have the right to an attorney. Do you understand these rights? I read them to you. Yeah, Jonathan said as the officers dragged him away. Over the next coming weeks, Detective Jones followed up with the 3 young ladies, and thankfully, Melinda made a full recovery. All 3 ladies made a full recovery, but Melinda, over the course of about a couple days, about 3 or 4 days, she actually had woken up and was sipping on water and eating a little bit of food. Everything seemed to be working out. So over the next couple weeks, they made an appearance at Seth and Jonathan's trial. and testified and pointed out the defendants, saying that identifying them as the ones that had snuck up on them and drugged them and kidnapped them from outside the club. Detective Jones honored the deal she made with Seth and put in a word with the judge, and the judge dropped his charges from kidnapping and attempted murder to misdemeanor assault, doing community service and a couple $100 fine. Jonathan, however, was found guilty in all counts. Found guilty of 3 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of attempted murder, and was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Over the course of several months, he tried to appeal it, but of course it was denied. Melinda, Sarah, and Bethany went on to live fairly normal lives, but having been through an ordeal like that, it was pretty rough, and it haunted them so much that they never actually returned to that same nightclub anymore. But the 3 of them made full recoveries and went on to live happily ever after, being more careful about where they went and be more aware of their surroundings. But thankfully, they never had anything like that happen again. Detective Jones went on to actually get an award for solving the case, because the captain had informed her that when he gave her the case, based on the information in the case, he didn't think that, especially it had been a couple days, so he didn't think that they would actually be able to find the ladies alive and safe. But he was grateful that he had such an amazing detective working the case who was able to solve it. She went on to have a very long and successful career, eventually becoming captain herself. Captain eventually going on and retiring. And after working very, very successful lifelong careers, and occasionally checking in on Melinda, Sarah, and Bethany, and making sure that they were doing okay, they all lived happily ever after. The end. Welcome back, guys. Well, as always, I appreciate you tuning in with me on this week's Story Time Friday episode. Hope you guys liked it. I've kind of been under the weather a little bit this week. A little bit of congestion, hacking up some stuff, whatever. So, how it is when you're not feeling great. You end up, it's hard to actually get yourself to actually do stuff. Do what you have to do. So, I knew that I needed to get the story recorded. Part of it was being motivated to do it. And then there was the part of, having the creative block, kind of, not knowing exactly what I wanted to tell a story about, because that's pretty much the problem I have anytime I come up with a story on the fly, or freestyle stories, is I never know what I'm going to do a story about until I start telling the story, So that's me working on my storytelling skills, trying to just come up with stuff, and, I am very glad that I'm able to do it, because there's times where a lot of times I surprise myself, so I'm like, oh wow, that story was actually halfway decent. Hope you guys enjoyed it, but hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys have had a good week, and just keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and closing, For anybody, if you like what you hear and you love to support the show, I would very much appreciate it. Go to blogtheshow.com/support. There's an option for like a one-time contribution, and then there's an option for a monthly contribution for as little as $1 per month. Also, if you're looking for another podcast you want to check out, feel free to check out my Puerto Rico's podcast. I created a page on my website that actually redirects to Spotify. So if you go to blogtheshow.com/Rico, RICCO, and you want to check them out, go for it. But otherwise, for anybody who wants to know more information about what I'm doing on the side with my side business, which to give you guys a little bit of updates with that, things are moving along. I think I had my like 3,000 followers on my Facebook business page when I started, and then that was like two and a half months back, and now I'm at like I think I'm at like close to 17,000 followers now. So that's growing. My Instagram's growing. My TikTok, I have noticed. I don't know what to attribute it to, but I have noticed that my videos on TikTok lately have gone from averaging in the 200s to I have my last couple videos hitting 600. I think I had one that had 700 views. I'm like, I'm not doing anything different, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, but any progress is good. So I'm seeing a lot more views. I'm just following the step-by-step stuff that we do with these with the Legacy Builder program. Where they teach you how to grow your following, teach you how to start earning online, even if you've never had any experience or whatever before, never had a following. It teaches you what to do. So if you want to check that out and get more information, go to blogtheshow.com/freedom and put your email in there and reply back to my email with any questions you have. Otherwise, you can get started for as little as $100. That gives you the Launchpad program. Teaches you how to basically grow your social media and start earning off that. Or they have a couple other programs all the way up to a $900 Legacy Builder program, which gives you basically, if you go all in with that one, it gives you all four programs. So on that note, guys, I really hope everybody had a great week. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday for the next episode of Real Talk Tuesday. So on that note, you guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you then.